Hey everybody, it's Christopher. I want to give you some tips on an industrial sewing machine. Mine happens to be a Juki 1541S. So stay with me and I'll be right back. Hey everybody, so I wanted to get a new motor. The motor I had on this Juki machine, it was old and it makes noise, and I thought I'll just wait. So I kept looking at the motors online, and you know, every motor is made in China. No matter which one you buy, they're made in China. So you can't get out of made in China. American corporations, I guess, still haven't brought any factory jobs back to America, so we're still stuck made in China. Anyway, this is a servo motor that's supposed to have great torque. And right now I've got a servo motor. It's an older one, and I added a step down pulley, speed reducer. Let me show you under here. There is the speed reducer that I added. And you can read up online about the speed reducers, how to install them, you know, and everything. What it does is you've got two belts. One belt goes from your machine to that little pulley there. And the bigger round pulley that goes to the motor itself, and that allows the motor to run slower but keep your torque. And for all you people that are new to using industrial machines, a torque is penetration power. If you're using vinyls and leathers and things, you need that penetration power when you're going through thicker materials. Otherwise, it won't pierce. Even though it's an industrial machine, if your motor doesn't have the piercing power, you're not going to have, you know, you don't have torque. And that's why some machines, you know, you got to set it to run faster for the torque. All right. So on one of the Facebook groups, one of the gals asked me if I had any tips for her. She was getting her first Juki industrial machine, and I could just show you some tips that helped me throughout time since I've used this machine. It's more of a convenience and application to make my applications easier and better. Okay, so let's just start up here. So I went to Harbor Freight and they had these magnetic bowls, and I put my pins and my clippies in there, and I put my bobbins in there. And what I did was I took two washers and double-sided automotive tape, taped it to the machine, and then sticks right there. Now, it will stick to this machine without them, but not as strong. So that's one thing right there. Another thing I have is I made a pouch. And in this pouch, I have my little accessories. I've been painting. My hands are all... I have pencil, measuring guide, leather pen, permanent pen, tweezers, seam ripper. Here I attach some Velcro. And I sew Velcro to my snips, so when I pull my snips off, I snip my thread, and then I just put it right back up, and it's there. Okay? All right, so let's move over here. So right here is one of my favorite ideas that I come up with is a piece of felt. I sewed it I sewed it closed, and I slipped it over this, and this has got silicone. There's silicone embedded into this that I pour into there. It helps the thread more slick, especially a lot of you who are making bags and you use double-sided tape. It helps the needle with the thread of the silicone glide through it better and easier and faster. All right, so that's a good tip. Now, where do you get the silicone, you're going to ask me? Well, you know, everything that I'm pointing out here with all these accessories, you can get online. Just do a Google search. I don't have affiliate links because I'm not being sponsored to do this video. I'm just doing this video to help people. So just do a Google search and you'll find these things. Now, let's go over here. I have two flip-up seam guides, okay? This is a flip-up seam guide that gets attached to the bar of your foot in the back. You can find these anywhere that sell industrial sewing machine equipment. It's a flip-up seam guide. And then there's this seam guide, which attaches to the back and is adjustable, and I love that. The reason why I have both of these is because there are times I need to do edge stitching, and with this seam guide for edge stitching, it works out pretty good for me. And then this one here is for my seam allowance, And this particular Juki doesn't have any markings on its plate, so I just use my seam guide, and then I drew magic marker on there. Alright, now, next, you're going to wonder how I get this light under here. Let me shut this light off here first. I have a light under here, and this light here, let me see if I can get it down here. Let me find it for you. Hold on. Here it is. It's a magnetic light, and I found that on the sites that sell industrial equipment, and it gives me that extra light under here, because as we know, the majority of the industrial machines don't come with light. You got to attach your own. The only thing they come with is this arm light, and I found this quite useless. I was thinking to myself, God, it's kind of stupid, because all these years they have these in factories, and they don't have anything but these swing out gooseneck light arm here. It's got to be hard on the eyes of the people who sew. Anyway, then I got this gooseneck attachment. It goes with magnetic, see? And it attaches. I'll turn that on and see how it lights up the whole area for me. And then you can swing that down when you're sewing, bring it up, whatever you want to do, so you can see your fabric. And when you're sewing your leather, you see? So that really helps. Then I have this light here. This is an arm light. Of course, you can buy these anywhere. And this arm light, I've got my long scissors in here. I have some Velcro attached. I have a point turner here. That's where I keep my double-sided tape up here. You know, you gotta have, and then over here I've got one of those old card files. And I have everything Velcroed, guys. I Velcro everything to my stations because I don't want to lose them. And every one of my stations has its own accessories. Each of my stations have their own accessories. So back there you see I got a pin cushion in case I need it. I have a lighter to melt my threads. I have this little pointer here. This is great when you want to help. So yeah, that's that. And this is my Juki. This is my 1541S. If you can find an industrial machine made in Japan, it's even better. And this Juki does. Now, not all Juki machines are made in Japan, so be careful. You know, if you want anything made in Japan is always going to be quality, including cars. It may be a Japanese company, but if the car is made in Mexico, it doesn't have the same quality as it was if it was made in Japan. All right. Then over here, I have an outlet, and this outlet, I have everything plugged into it, and I even have a fan down here because the room I work in, sometimes it gets a little warm, and I got a fan attached under my machine, which is great because when you're working in a factory, you need all the air circulation you can. And then I have the on and off switch here, which turns everything on and off. Everything's plugged into it, so everything goes off. See? Then you turn it back on, and it goes on. I got a new motor on here. The motor I got is a digital motor. Right down here. It's a servo motor. And it's still not slow enough. I have to reattach. I thought I would not need a speed reducer, but I do. So I've got to get a speed reducer attached back to this machine. But it's fine. I can live without it. One of my previous videos I showed you having a speed reducer and how slow you can move your fabric, you know, and your leather, which is really great. I thought if I got this one, well, my other one made noise when it's sewed. This one doesn't make noise. Let me get set up and I'll show you. All right, here we go. So my other motor, when you turn it on, it made all kinds of humming noises and stuff, and it was really old, so I decided just to get a new one. But you can see this is the slowest that this. I have to do one foot at a time. But you can see it doesn't. The only thing that makes noise is the machine, and that's as slow as this motor will go. So I can live with this, and this is doing me fine. But for you guys, you may want to add on that speed reducer. I'll show you what that speed reducer looks like. It's a big wheel like this. It gets attached onto your machine. Your machine belt gets attached to that little wheel, and the big wheel gets attached to the motor. This is heavy. And these aren't these are not cheap either. So, and trying to adjust it is a bitch. Trust me. I got too many holes in my table trying to adjust with the motor. But my other machine, I have a different machine that has one on, and they pre-drilled the holes for me at the factory, at the dealer when I bought it, so it fit perfect. It's no problem. But anyway, these are some tips I want to share with you all, because I know many of you are buying industrial machines now. You know, I got to tell you a little story. When I wrote my second book on bags, everyone was using cotton fabric and making those Vera Bradley looking bags. And I think this was about 2000 and what was it? What am I think? Okay, my first book on pillows came out in 2007. My second book, teaching the home sewer how to make vinyl bags on a domestic machine, came out I think around 2009, 2008, something like that. Anyway, nobody was using vinyl on home sewing machines to make bags, right? Okay, that was, let's just say 2009, 2010. Fast forward, it's 2021, and everybody's making vinyl bags. Everyone's got videos on YouTube showing you how to make vinyl bags. Everybody's buying industrial machines now. Look how far and how fast our industry, our home sewing industry, has come. And when I was doing it and teaching, nobody was using vinyl. They were too afraid. They didn't even know how to use vinyl to embroider on their 6-needle embroidery machines they bought at home. They were saying, "Hi, you can't sew on vinyl. You can't do this. You can't do that." And I taught across the country for about 3 years, teaching people how to make vinyl bags on their home sewing machines. And then I got into doing my own leather bags for my retail business. And then I went to the computer one day, decided to join a couple sewing bag groups, and everybody's doing vinyl bags and industrial sewing machines now. Isn't that something? And I went past vinyl and I'm into leather now. So I'm doing leather now. But I did make a vinyl bag the other day because my client's a vegan and she requested a vegan bag, which is a fancy name for a vinyl or faux leather. Well, I hope these little tips on the machine help you guys. So, you know, when you're done for the night, instead of having to shut this light off and that light off and this button off, you just come down under here and everything goes off at once. And with that, I bid you all a good night.